what is going to serve our family best, what is going to serve our babies best, what's going to serve our marriage best, and take it from there. And the recipe for that is going to look very different for each family.
Welcome back to the What's the Dough podcast. I have with me again Tania Dill after a smashing success of an episode 2 episodes ago.
Wow, smashing success.
Smashing success. Tania, we had to get you back on the pod. I'm also trying to look this way.
Yeah, I see
a flattering look on the camera. Last time I was a little bit too hunched over you, I think. So I'm trying to test out new angles like this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm trying. I think it looks good. I'll see. If you're not watching on YouTube, you need to go subscribe on YouTube and watch. So enough about the technical stuff of the podcast. Tania, thank you for coming back on the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
A lot of people reached out to me and to you, and we're talking about how much they got out of the episode with you on a couple episodes ago, how valuable they found your insight, which I always find everything you say so valuable and insightful.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
parenthood is just so relatable, and I think it just, everybody, all the moms, all the dads kind of just feel it, when someone else talks about it. So I think that's why that kind of content on the podcast is a hit.
Yes. And I think a lot of times you have a conversation with people and you say, oh man, we could just talk about this for hours.
Right.
And you don't often get the platform to talk about it for hours, but here you do because it's our own podcast.
Yeah.
So
we get to do whatever we want.
We get to do whatever we want. You can come on 10 more times, 100 times.
That's right.
We could kick it back to just me and you.
Whoa.
So Tania, again, I love when you come on. I love hearing what you have to say. It was incredible, the response we got from people. So I just wanted to continue our conversation about motherhood, parenthood, your experience of it. So I wanted to have you back on the podcast, Tania, because it was such a great success last time. A lot of people reached out. A lot of women reached out to you in particularly about your advice, your insight, your experience of being a mom, being a wife. And I wanted to continue the conversation because I feel like there was more meat on that bone.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could keep talking. And one topic in particular that I wanted to hear your thoughts on was women and moms working. Because a lot of times in our Catholic circles, moms working can have generate a lot of emotions. It can get a lot of thoughts and opinions. It can be a hot button issue. Moms working. Now, I think because as Catholics, we really want to affirm masculinity and femininity. So I think that's played out and lived out a lot of times by living that out deeply, living that out clearly. So you're a working mom.
Yeah.
You're a very talented,
thank you.
very talented woman. You work full time.
I do.
2 babies, 2 under 2 or 2 and under.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about the balance or challenges you feel about being a mom, a wife, and a worker, a full-time worker.
The challenges I feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be challenging, right?
Yeah, yes. I mean, there's definitely a lot on my plate all the time. Yeah. And I think I can feel conflicted sometimes, and I definitely go back and forth, and we talk about it all the time. Is it time for me to take a step back from work? Is it time for me to even just go down to part-time? Yeah. How are our babies doing? How's our quality of life with me working? And for me, even though we have 2 kiddos, one 2.5 and one 11 months, that is a lot, but I like to work. I like, and every situation is different for every mom, for every wife. For me, I'm able to work remote, which is such a blessing, full time. And the company I work for is fully remote. Everybody is fully remote. It's a virtual company. So that has been a huge gift because it allows me to be there for my babies in a certain way. I still give Lucia her bottle. I still change diapers. I still eat lunch with them. I mean, I'm still there. So for me, that's kind of been a no compromise. Like I'm not going to go into an office, and that works for our family.
Right.
And for the foreseeable future,
Mm-hmm.
maybe later in life I'll go into an office job, but for now,
Right. In this season.
I feel like I have the perfect happy medium. I work remote. I work for a company that values family
Mm-hmm.
life, that values family culture. So I'm very blessed because everybody that I work with is on that same Christian life
Mm-hmm.
path that, family comes first, our kids come first, and that is a game changer as well.
Right.
So I think to answer your question, I know I went off a little bit, but
Great.
the challenge is feeling like I'm maybe trying to be in two places at once, or trying to 100% give everything I can while I'm at work and 100% give everything I can with my kids. So learning that happy and beautiful balance through, for me, again, remote life, remote work has been a solution to that challenge.
I think that's a great answer, Tanya, and I think you really broke down kind of the scenario you're in, how it works for our family. It's unique to us.
Yes.
But I also heard that you like to work, like you enjoy working, because we know there's dignity in work. We know that in the Garden of Eden, Adam was working. We've heard a lot of popes talk about the dignity of work. Can you talk about your enjoyment of having a job? Like, what do you get out of it? How is it fulfilling you more than just contributing to the family?
I love the people I work with, even though I work remote. We do have a lot of interaction, virtual meetings. We're on Slack all the time. We have really developed and fostered personal relationships outside of work. So I get my cup filled from work relationships too. And I've made wonderful friendships through work. And that is something I've really enjoyed. I think I've just really enjoyed, as a mom, having something for myself. And I used to feel guilty feeling that way. And at times I still do. But like with our son Diego, when he was first born, I remember feeling like excited to go back to work, but also feeling this massive guilt, like, how dare I feel excited to go to work? I should feel excited to stay at home with him all day. And I had to really work through that and work through this feeling of like feeling guilty. I felt like I wasn't allowed to be happy to work. So that is something that I like work. And so that's a simple answer. And I've enjoyed the friendships that I've encountered at work. I like having something for myself. Maybe that is selfish. I don't know. Maybe I need to work through that. But there is something nice about having this accomplishment that's just mine. Not to say that motherhood is not the biggest accomplishment, and I value it so much, but just something outside of motherhood. And I don't think, for me personally, for our life, for our family, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how each scenario is different, each season is different? Because, for a lot of moms out there who maybe don't work and are at home full time, that's a tremendous calling, and that's that is a lot of work. That is work. Let's not pretend like that's not work.
Right.
That is hard. So can you talk a little bit about like the different seasons? Like, because there is an opportunity maybe for you to be a full-time mom out in the future. We don't know. But right now, kind of discerning the season of work for you is something that is on your heart to keep doing. So you talk a little bit about like the different seasons and how there really is no wrong answer, I would say.
Yeah. There are different seasons, like you said. I think maybe when, God willing, if a third kid comes for us, I can very well see that, like, okay, this is maybe a little too much, because right now my parents help us a lot.
Right.
And I work remote.
So grateful for that.
So grateful.
Yeah.
And they help us with the kids. So when I think about adding a third, that is a lot to ask anybody outside of the parents.
Sure.
And we don't know what that's going to look like, but it could be a season where where for our family, it's going to make sense for me to stop working or go down to
Right.
part-time.
Right.
I don't think like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think there's just different seasons of life. And I can't remember the study, but I remember truly reading a study, because you know how these days, side note, people say I read a study or like I was reading an article. It's like I saw a post
TikTok
on
video.
TikTok or an Instagram, but
Yeah.
I actually
I read a book the other day. Actually, it was just a really long TikTok I saw.
But I actually do remember reading this study.
What's the account?
I don't know. I think it was Harvard.
A Harvard TikTok account?
Oh, no. No, I think it was a Harvard study that just kind
Got
of
it.
like broke down different metrics somehow and did a study on how much a stay-at-home mom technically would make. And it's
Yes.
like the equivalency of 2.5 high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
Where you'd be making like 400,000 or something like that. So it's wild because it's never ending. It's not a 9 to 5. It's a 7 to 8. It's 24
hours.
because
Yeah.
even when they're asleep, you never know when they're gonna wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think being a stay-at-home mom is beautiful, and it is so encouraging for me to see certain friends of mine being called to being a stay-at-home mom. I admire it so much.
Yeah. Is there a right or wrong answer for should moms work?
Not for me. No. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's very specific to your own family life. I think it's very specific to you, your husband, and the Lord praying together and figuring out what is going to serve our family best, what is going to serve our babies best, what's going to serve our marriage best, and take it from there. And the recipe for that is going to look very different for each family.
Yeah, I think that's really true. The recipe is going to look different for each family. And I think, like, sometimes I feel like we have to take the pressure off ourselves. As young Catholic families, we have to take the pressure off ourselves.
Yes.
Like, there's this perfect recipe that you have to do it the same way as the person next to you.
Yeah.
I feel like God's going to speak to each one of our hearts differently. And most of all, our dedication to Jesus and our dedication to our children is going to be like first and foremost.
Yeah.
And if that's going to look like a job for a mom sometimes in a season, if that's going to look like a mom staying home, I think that's great. And I think we just have to like give ourselves a lot of grace for the walk together. Like this is not an easy walk. We just have to give ourselves more grace for how we're providing, how we're living out our vocations as moms and dads.
I want to ask you, Pete. I don't know if I'm allowed to turn the tables a little bit.
Turn them. Turn those tables.
Well,
how the tables turn.
Because I just feel like we talked a lot about motherhood.
Yeah.
And I am really curious about fatherhood and what it's been like for you being a dad. And, you know, we haven't been parents long, and we know that. And
feels like 20 years.
Feels like an eternity. That's for sure. But I'm just curious. I know you asked me many things about motherhood, specifically how has it changed me, my perception of everything. And I'm just curious how you feel that fatherhood has changed you. And what I'm really curious about is, and I've always wondered, like, men of the house feels like you guys carry this weight of, you guys just lead us, or you're called to lead us. You're called to protect us. You're called to provide for us. And that sounds so intimidating and so scary. So what is that like for you?
Yeah, I can take it from here. You can, if you want to hop off the camera, Tanya, I can take it from here and just talk for a while. No, I'm just kidding. Great question. I feel like there's a lot there, a lot of meat in that bone, a lot of questions in that. I'll kind of just start first and foremost. How's it been? How's it changed me? It's changed me a lot. Being a father has changed me because it's held a mirror up to my life. It's held a mirror up to my weaknesses, my shortcomings. It's held a mirror up to my beliefs. It's held a mirror up to what I can accomplish, what I can't accomplish. And it's also changed, but in that, it's changed me for like the better. It's made me more resolute, made me more resolved, made me more selfless, made me more gentle, made me more giving. So in the hard times, in the kind of purification times of the past few years, it's purified me. You know, it's purified me like alchemy. You know, it's like it's melted the gold down and it's brought out all the impurities, brought out a lot of impurities. And there's been like a pure version of myself, a better version of myself. And it's really just through the grace of God. So it's changed me to be a better person, a better man. And in that, you kind of talk about the weight. Okay, it's made me rely on God more. It's made me depend on God more. The more I've seen my children depend on me, it's actually reflected that I need to depend on God more.
Yeah.
Because this life is too hard. This life is too challenging. This life has too many, I have too many wounds. I have too many weaknesses. It's made me depend, being a father has made me depend on God, and it's made me realize that I need to depend on God. Before becoming a father, I think I had a lot of ideas of my own strength and my own talents and my own abilities to say my abilities can take me as far as I want them to go. And it's amazing how a little baby who's crying throughout the night, who's pooping their pants, who doesn't listen, can kind of break down this idea of I can take myself as far as I want to go.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I can't even sleep when I want to sleep.
Right.
A little baby is waking me up all night. So it's purified me, but it's also made me realize that I need to depend on God. And then seeing my children depend on me, it's helped me be like, wow, it's like this crash course in theology. Like, wow, am I really like this with God the Father? Like crying and wanting my own way and, not, just trying to do things my own way, not listening to my Father. Like, am I like this with God the Father?
It's very in your face.
It's in my face every day. I'm just like, whoa, like, I'm really like this, I think. So it's helped me realize that I'm a child for my Father, but I can depend on God, my Father, who is perfect. I might be an imperfect father, earthly father, but I have a perfect heavenly Father who wants my best interest, who's looking out for me, who's there for me, and who's going to lead our family. You ask, how do I lead the family?
Yeah.
Purely only by trusting in God. The only way I can lead our family is by trusting in God more and giving everything at his feet.
That's hard.
It's very hard.
That sounds hard.
But it's less about, for me, it's been less about the doing. How can I do things better as a father? And more about the letting go and letting God lead our family, letting God speak into my heart, meeting him in prayer, meeting him in the sacraments, meeting him in these day-to-day things, and letting him lead our family. I'm sorry, sweetheart, I can't lead our family super well.
What?
I can't do it, but God can. And I promise you
together with the Lord,
he's never going to fail us. So your belief in me of leading our family should only go as far as how much I believe that God can lead our family.
Yeah.
Like, I really do just try to put everything at his feet. Everything.
Yeah.
Our children's souls, our children's lives, our children's safety, our sanctity, our safety, our future, just like trying to put it at the feet of my own heavenly Father and saying, like, Lord, like, this is all a service and an act of worship to you. Help me see the world and see people how you see them. Help me live my life the way you want me to live it. Help me become more like you and let my actions and my thoughts and desires reflect you in the world. Like, that is how I do it. And I think the weight of being a father, a man in modern society can, you feel it in your traps, you feel it in your shoulders, and it's not easy, but I've only been able to do it through the grace of God and trusting in him and for our family.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Well, I think this is a great conversation, a great part 2, a great follow-up. Tania, so thank you for coming on so much. I appreciate you coming on and sharing kind of the working mom perspective. I know a lot of moms out there are going to really benefit from hearing that. And for all the moms who are stay at home and work on the family, so admirable and noble, and also worth, its weight in gold. So thank you for sharing today.
Yeah, thank you.
Any final words for the anyone out there?
No final words today.
Right on. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for checking in, for watch this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this with someone who might like it. Reach out to me, DM, text, call, email, whatever. I'd love to hear from you, your feedback on this episode, how you deal with your vocations, being a working mom, working dad, stay-at-home mom. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you all. Talk to y'all soon.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.